Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Above Suspicion. And this is a new Lionsgate film from director Philip Noyce, and this tells the story of a up-and-coming golden boy FBI agent who winds up in Appalachia and begins having an affair with a local woman to be able to get information to crack some cases. And of course, this goes perfectly well and goes to some dark places. And this is a true story. It's about the first ever FBI agent charged with murder. And you have this story, and our small town, middle of the mountains girl is Emilia Clarke, who, no matter how much they try to frump her up, still looks like a movie star. And it's kind of like, was this the best casting in terms of this? But, you know, she kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in this plays. And then still looks like a movie star. So in the end of it, she still really sticks out in this film. And there's definitely moments in this film that feel unintentionally hilarious. Whether it's line delivery or how melodramatic it feels, it just has a sense that this film is supposed to be this, like, crime thriller kind of film, and there's just awkward moments or overacting, especially with staring. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But there's definitely moments that are unintentionally hilarious, whether it's Emilia Clarke's accent and just, like, how obnoxious she can be with certain words and lines. And it's just like, give me my rent money, bitch. And I'm just like, is this supposed to be a parody? Honestly, I was getting a lot of Hillbilly Elegy vibes in terms of like how melodramatic and over the top it is, to the point where it's kind of funny and it's really not supposed to be. Because this is a very serious film, but so many things about her unconvincing, whether it's Emilia Clarke's accent or her as this particular character, or this love story that she develops with Jack Houston's character, who's the FBI agent. And see, Jack Houston looks the part. Looks like that nice and tied tight kind of golden boy FBI agent. He has that look. And there's some scenes where he does some really good acting. There's also some scenes where he has really unconvincing line delivery. And I'm like, am I supposed to be, like, convinced of what he's trying to say in this scene? And then Emilia Clarke just feels so miscast in this. And, like, she's just so over the top and obnoxious with her accent and how she, like, there's so many moments of her just like staring into the camera, because Noyce and the cinematographer really focus on a lot of up close and personal shots in this film. And there's a lot of Emilia Clarke staring at the camera, and something's always off about it. It doesn't look convincing, it looks awkward. And there's so many Dutch angles in this film. So many Dutch angles. And you know what they're trying to go for, but it just feels so over the top because they overutilize it. And that's the thing too. And like, the other members of the cast we have is Sophie Lowe, who plays Jack Houston's wife, and she gets some nice moments, but also she gets some awkward, like the camera's staring right at her kind of thing, and it looks a little awkward. And then you have Johnny Knoxville, who's probably the most convincing as this like scumbag, drug dealing, backwoods mountain kind of guy, and it's really like a character that has no depth to it, but like, he fits the part really well, so it works in the film. There's some really weird effects and choices made in this film. There's scenes where the background's definitely CGI, and it's really awkward in terms of how, like, Jack Houston standing in front of this green screen, it looks so artificial. And then you have these effects where people are like on drugs or out of it, and it's so shaky and like herky-jerky in terms of how the shots are put together, and it just feels so weird and awkward, and it really took me out of the film. And there are moments that you do feel the intensity of the story and the intensity of the interactions of the actors, but it also feels really hokey at times, and just this really doesn't come together. There's a lot of voiceover that Emilia Clarke does that feels silly, honestly, and it cuts tension, especially at some really important, intense, and brutal scenes towards the end of the film that are supposed to be like the big impactful scenes, and then you throw in this voiceover that feels so out of place and just really awkward. And you know, in terms of like this budding relationship between Houston and Clark, it feels so forced and never feels like, out of nowhere they start like sleeping together and have these feelings, and it never feels right. And as you're going through this film, it just becomes more over the top. A lot of the dialogue is very blunt and like obvious in terms of where the story's going. And in the end, I feel like this is a really drab too. Like it's like up in Appalachia, everything's got to be gray, and it's just such a gray, drab, awkward, melodramatic film that really doesn't do justice to the story that it's telling. And in the end, I feel like Above Suspicions is quite a misfire. And there's some things about it had potential, but it never really came together for me. And if you're really into crime thrillers, or like you're a huge fan of Emilia Clarke, you'll definitely get plenty of her in this. But outside of that, I don't know if this film's really going to grab your attention and really keep your focus. But those are my thoughts on Above Suspicion. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.